Alongside me now in central London, survivor of that night in North Kensington, Marcio Gomes. Marcio, thank you for coming to talk to me.
Thank you.
You were in the building behind me when the report was published and the chair of the inquiry delivered his comments. It's been seen as a huge moment for the community and survivors like yourself. There's so many conflicting emotions today, even with this inquiry from the start, following everything, and it's culminated in this final report today. How are you feeling about what was in it?
Well, I welcome the report. I think Sir Martin Morbick and the whole team have done a good job, and they've taken it probably as far as they could legally. You've seen from the report, of course I haven't read it all, and I've certainly not had time to digest it, but from what I have seen and read, and from the executive summary, you can see a lot of the failings. You can see where the greed came into play, you can see where the manipulation came into play, and also the fraudulent activities that was going on between companies, almost acting as if they were friends and allowing each other to get away with certain things. We've seen from the inquiry that the 72 deaths, including my son Logan, was avoidable. It shouldn't have happened. And everything that's come out of it is actually what we expected. It was our truth. It's what we gave evidence for. So I'm glad they've picked up on it.
Yeah. It's there in black and white for you today. There's validation of everything you've been saying over the course of the last 7 years. You mentioned Logan there, and on Sky News we were with your daughter Luna, 12 on the night of the fire, now a 19-year-old young woman.
Yes.
And she was talking to us about what it was like as a young girl on that night and the effect on your family. And Sir Martin Morbick was right in his comments today to say, look, at the heart of all of this, we have to remember the personal tragedy, because that is what is pushing people on, pushing survivors like yourself on. Can you talk to me a little bit about the impact it has had on your life? You mentioned the loss of your unborn son, Logan. Talk to me about the impact it's had on your family, because it's important for people at home to not forget that in, all of this, in all this technical detail that's come out today.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what it's been like.
I mean, Grenfell wasn't just a one-day thing. It happened on the 14th of June. I think everybody knows that. But it's the ripple effect that it has. I'm sorry, the police. But it's the ripple effect that it has, and the impact it continues to have on my family, on everybody's families. So my daughter is now 19, she's going to university, and I'm really proud of her and everything that she's done. But I myself, I all suffer from PTSD. We still do our therapy because it's important, because it helps us to move forward as best we can. And in addition to that, because of the impact of Grenfell, I've also gone through a separation because of what happened at Grenfell. So it continues to have that impact. But at the end of the day, there's been mornings where I wake up in the morning and think, there's no point in doing this. Why am I doing this? Just try and shut off, draw a line and just move on with something else. But for me, as a reminder, I don't do this for me. I don't speak to the cameras for me. I do it because of the 72 people that aren't here. They haven't got a voice, so we all try to then become a voice for them and make the relevant changes that can hopefully make everybody's lives a lot safer going forward.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? 7 years to get to this point, and we were just hearing a response from the Metropolitan Police there, because speaking to survivors and their families, what they want from today has not just been validation and answers, but it's also accountability.
Yeah.
And that may take the form of prosecutions, that's to come. But listening to the Metropolitan Police there, they were saying another 12 to 18 months for their criminal investigation to reach a conclusion. You're then looking at it going to the CPS. You're then looking at any potential trial 2027. That's 10 years on from the fire.
Yes.
How confident are you that justice can be delivered after so long?
Well, I'm hoping it can. I think justice will look different to everybody, slightly different to everybody.
How does it look to you?
For me, there's two things here. Of course, this is a huge milestone. The inquiry's come to an end, but everything's now written in black and white. What's important right now is that all the recommendations are implemented, by the government and other authorities, whoever they may be, to ensure it doesn't happen again, so Grenfell number 2 does not happen. And secondly, I need the police to start doing their job. I know they've been doing an investigation in the background, but that's kind of been really slow. And a lot of the meetings that we've had, a lot of their feedback is they're waiting for the report from the inquiry. So they want to amalgamate it and kind of review it before they put their own view forward, which is going to take about 18 months to 2 years. So the other element is people actually doing prison time when it gets to that. I know we're talking about a number of years down the line, but for me, that's justice. With also not happening again, of course.
Of course. Are you fearful that justice in that sense will be diluted? So much time will pass. Where are those individuals responsible now? The companies named in the report, they may have moved on. We know how difficult it is to hold people into account. We've seen it before with public inquiries. So how do you, and I know what drives you, you've explained it so well, it's those 72 people who lost their lives. But how do you keep the focus on this for another 3 years, perhaps longer, to keep this sense of urgency?
Well, I think it's important to keep the pressure on, be it the government or local authorities or even the police. How do we do it? I don't really know right now. I think it's just whatever drives us in the moment. There's going to be, huge milestones coming up with the police investigation, police meetings, and then the CPS when it eventually does go to them. So it's just a case of utilising the moments to make those changes. Exactly how we do it, I don't know.
Marcio, you're so considered and so calm, given what you've been through. But I wonder, reading that report, and I know you've only had a chance to read the summary, not everyone's been able to read the whole 1,700 pages yet, but seeing it in black and white, that the government knew at least a year before the fire of the risks, but did nothing. There was systemic dishonesty, selling products that were flammable to clad high-rise buildings in. Commercial interests put over public safety. Seeing that in black and white, how does that feel in your gut?
Well, it's like somebody punching you in the stomach. It feels down to the core, really. We kind of already expected this because we lived it. We went through it. And this wasn't something that just happened on a day or a week. This is something that's been happening over a long period of time through so many different failings, which is what the panel exactly said. It wasn't just the government, it was RBKC, it was the Tenants Management Organisation, the LFB, and so many different organisations such as Iconic, Celotex and so on. I can carry on naming companies. They all had a part to play in what happens. And they all knew, of course, there's different levels, as Martin Morbeck said, but they all knew the dangers of it. They knew exactly what they were doing. We've seen it from the evidence that was provided, with the emails that was going back and forth, with even the fire testing where they rigged it and put extra material on it because it failed within 5 minutes, almost setting the rig on fire. So they then added additional material onto it just to, in my view, falsify the certificate. And that then enabled them to sell it all over the UK. And we have to remember that the cladding is still all over the UK. And it's important with the findings today that the government steps up in a way. We've got a new Labour government who are also part of it because this started many, many years ago. And it's an opportunity for them to make the relevant changes that's going to make people's lives a lot better and ensure that Grenfell number 2 doesn't happen.
Marcio Gomes, really appreciate you taking the time today, and good luck for the future. Thank you. And I know, you've described so eloquently what drives you on. Keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really to meet you. Thank you.